Joining me now is NBC News national investigative correspondent Michael Isikoff. Michael, thanks for joining me. Tell us what you've been looking into today.
Well, it turns out that the extent to which Michele Bachmann and her family has benefited from government aid is a lot more than she has previously acknowledged and has been previously reported. In particular, I got some figures today from the Minnesota Department of Human Services showing that Bachmann and Associates, which is the counseling clinic run by Michele Bachmann's husband, has received over $137,000 in Medicaid funds, federal and state funds, for the treatment of low-income employees since 2005. Now, this is particularly interesting because Bachmann, as you know, has been a fierce critic of socialized medicine, of Obamacare. She wants to roll it back, and in particular has denounced expansions of Medicaid, describing it as equivalent to expanding the welfare rolls. So this is on top of, by the way, previously reported about $24,000 grant that Bachmann and Associates had gotten in state and federal funds for the training of employees. So you put it all together, it's about $161,000 in government aid to Bachmann and Associates, or government funding to Bachmann and Associates. That does raise some questions about that are bound to raise questions about some of Bachmann's assertions about cutting back on government programs.
Michael, I want you to listen to what she's told Chris Wallace about that money going to the clinic.
This was a one-time training money that came in from the federal government, and it certainly didn't help our clinic. It was something that was additional training to help employees.
Can you fact-check that for us, Michael?
Yes, I did. Well, two things. First of all, she's referring to that grant I spoke about before, and I talked to the State Department of Human Services today about the idea that the money went directly to the employees, not to the clinic. They said not true. The contract was to the clinic. The money went to the clinic. How the clinic used the money, they couldn't say. But as far as they were concerned, the money went to the clinic. And the point is, she was talking about that as a one-time payment that was for that specific contract. These Medicaid payments have been going on every year since 2005, and they have continued into this year. So it's been a continuing relationship in Medicaid Medicaid funding for Bachmann and Associates.
And Medicaid payments to clinics are the center of Medicaid fraud in this country. When Medicaid fraud is being investigated, it's not found in big ways in the big hospitals that treat masses of Medicaid patients. It's in these clinics that do who knows what, that are very, very hard to police and get out there and find out exactly what they're doing with that money. Is Michele Bachmann going to have to face more questions going forward about this, Michael?
Well, first of all, to be fair, there's no allegations here of fraud on the part of Bachmann Associates. It's more, are there questions of contradictions between her public comments? And, she was, when Governor Mark Dayton in Minnesota had signed an executive order earlier this year to expand Medicaid funding to about 95,000 Minnesota residents, Michele Bachmann flew back home and stood with GOP legislators to denounce that move, denounced the Medicaid program, said she was expanding the welfare rolls, and needless to say, she made no mention of the fact that her husband's clinic was benefiting from this very program.
NBC News national investigative correspondent Michael Isikoff. Thanks for joining me tonight, Michael.
Thank you, Lawrence.